the occasional fruit and leave it at that, and then marry that with activity, and the activity needs to be something that they're at least a little bit good at and that they can see themselves getting better, not something where I'm never going to reach the top row of blocks and you keep putting me up in front of a group of people and pointing out the fact I can't reach the top row of blocks. So now what do you guys want to know?
Well, I have a question. Do
Sure.
you think with the whole issue with girls, with the whole like anorexia and bulimia, do you believe that plays a role in like your description of the game of against the wall, the fact that parents put up barriers, that you can't eat this, you can't eat that?
I do. And I also think a lot of times it's the pot calling the proverbial kettle black, right? We have a mom who maybe has battled weight, so now she has a daughter and she's constantly, directly and indirectly, highlighting weight issues with her daughter. And sometimes it's totally unintentional, but mom is constantly commenting on her own weight, commenting on don't do that or you'll end up like me, don't do that or you'll end up fat, don't do that or boys won't like you or whatever. Absolutely that plays a role. And again, it comes back to they need that solid example and then some of those things won't happen.
And also like as a coach, like I have 9th through 12th graders, when it comes to nutrition, do you think as a coach it should be something that should be talked about like either before they come into high school? Because I've seen so far, me being an athlete and seeing it myself, that you have these kids that are like, they can eat whatever they want, and myself, and then nothing's going to happen. But then, of course, when you stop playing, that's when everything starts to hit you harder. Is it something that we need to start educating kids sooner, like middle school? Should we start educating them in high school, the proper nutrition to get them through, like, their sporting events to, like, cut down on injuries?
Okay, so there's a few things there. One, should we talk about nutrition? Absolutely we should. Two, unfortunately, up to now, there have been a lot of attempts. The intent is spot on, but the method to accomplish the goal of the intent has been wrong. Like the government in the state saying take pop out of the schools, and then they put juice in. Liquid sugar to liquid sugar. It's the same damn thing, except you're probably paying more for the juice boxes. So congratulations, you're paying more for the same problem. Yes, there needs to be more education. Yes, there needs more talking. There needs to be more talking, but it always has to be within the framework of being a better athlete. And along with that, you need to include, or we do this, and I've got a college volleyball player that's playing at your alma mater coming in to see me next week when she's home from school. She wants to lose a little bit in her midsection. Well, that may or may not be fine. I haven't seen her or talked to her yet. But the priority needs to be, and what I'm going to try and impress upon her is, you don't need this ripped midsection. You need to be the best 20-something-year-old volleyball player. That's what we need to talk about, we need to focus on. And most of the time, if we can shift them to being best at their sport, it'll take care of a lot of the body image issues. Because if done correctly, it's kind of like when we talk in the adult world, health, wellness, and weight loss. If you do it right, you get all three. Every time you get all three. It's like the knuckleheads out there pimping the broccoli and whitefish diets. That's not healthy, and it's not going to help you get well. It's going to drop the number on the scale, but I've been doing this since the late 90s. You're not going to stick with it. If you get it right, you're going to get health, wellness, and weight loss. With the adolescent females, if you get it right, they're going to be a better athlete. They're going to feel comfortable and confident. They're going to have a soaring self-esteem. And they'll be their parents, usually like mom or dad, who's poking and pointing out they have a weight issue, is probably not going to be doing that. So yes, there needs to be more conversations about it. Normally, we don't talk much about it. Athletes that are always on the go can get away with being a human garbage can. Part of what happens is when athletics stop, all of the activity that allowed them to build and maintain muscle stops. And when we stop maintaining muscle mass, we retard metabolism. So the amount of muscle you have determines your metabolism, 18 or 80. And if you go from being, for example, a collegiate athlete that is not only on the court doing sport-specific training, practice, games, etc., drills, you're also in the weight room. When we strip that weight room experience, we strip the stimulus that's increasing or maintaining muscle, And once that happens, metabolism goes down. And it's worse for women because women traditionally do less load-bearing activity than men. So as soon as the sports and the load-bearing activity, weight training, are gone, metabolism goes into the basement and it just keeps dropping. So again, I think, yes, you have to have the conversation. Has to be framed around you being the best you and the best athlete you can be and feeling your best. That'll take care of the image stuff. And then there also needs to be encouragement to long-term active lifestyle. One day, at least along gender lines for the most part for women, there is no post-collegiate professional arena that you can make a true living at. I mean, we can look at basketball, kinda, but compared to the men, I mean, the men's salaries are way up here, the women's are down here. We can look at maybe beach volleyball. That might be one where there's a little bit of money, but how many women are going to get a chance to go play that, and for how long, and what is the actual earning potential? The reality is, at some point, collegiate athletics will end, now what? And we should probably be having that conversation with athletes 6th, 7th, 8th grade. It should be about long-term healthy lifestyle and being active, not just about volleyball now, because there will be a sunset on volleyball. There'll be a sunset on softball. Does that kind of make sense? Does that answer your question?
No, yes, you did.
What else? Anybody?
Metabolism be reversed?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
And the only way to raise metabolism is build muscle. Like if we were to look at the biggest mistakes men and women, especially women, make with losing weight, this is the two biggest mistakes are they do lots of cardio or aerobics classes and they cut their calories. It won't work. It won't work. It'll work short term, but if you can't do it forever, it's not going to keep working. The other thing that happens, lots of cardio and low calories is a good way to burn up your muscle. And once you start losing muscle, down goes your metabolism. So secret is build muscle. If you want to look like you did in college, train like you did in college. And guess what you didn't do in college? You weren't on a stair stepper, a stair climber, an elliptical, a treadmill, or doing a step class if they still offer those. You weren't doing any of that stuff. You're lifting weights and playing volleyball. And again, that goes back to reaching the top row. Your top row is volleyball. You still like volleyball, right?
I do. I coach you all year long.
Play.
I do need to
Play.
play more. I don't play tonight.
Play.
Well, no, I can practice them for like
That's.
I can play them for the first 10, 15 minutes of practice.
Yeah, I would
Somebody's sweating today.
go back and play and then lift weights. I had a guy like 12 years ago. I helped him lose, it's either 60 or 80 pounds. And he's like, I hate lifting weights. I don't want to take supplements. I blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, that's fine. You're fat and you're out of shape. You came to me and said you're unhealthy. You need to lift some weights. However, let's find your top row of blocks that you can easily reach. You said you really like tennis. Go down to the clock tower and go find out how you can sign up to play more tennis. He's like, seriously? I'm like, your goal is a couple hours a week of tennis, and then the other side is, and we teach this in our facility, like if you come in looking for a cheeseburger, we have to make sure you get a cheeseburger, but if we know you need a taco, we have to squeeze a side of tacos in. So for him, his cheeseburger was tennis. So his top row was great. Let's give him the top row. Let's give him the cheeseburger, but he's got to get a taco too. And the taco for him was, I said, 2 days a week you're in the weight room for around 45 minutes. I don't care what you do. Show up and do something. And he did. And he lost like the equivalent of 2 bags of salt for the water softener, or 2 bags of Quikrete, or 2 of the big plates in the gym. However you want to look at it, it's a ton of weight. And he's like, yeah, I feel like I'm not doing anything except playing tennis. Bingo, we won. What else you guys want to know? If I don't know the answer, I'll make it up. Yes.
So if you educate the kids, right,
yes.
like the middle schoolers or the high schoolers, they're not the ones that are buying the groceries for them at home necessarily. So then does it become their responsibility to teach their parents? Or then how do you educate the parents, the ones in charge?
So, all right. So if the kids aren't buying the groceries, how do you manage that? this is kind of a two-part answer. Our part is, that's your job. You should be grabbing the parents at our place and having that conversation with mom and dad. And that is something we provide. If your athletes, or if athletes come and train with us in our sports performance program, we will sit down and do this with them for an athlete. Okay? Because injury prevention, recovery is stymied or outright won't happen if we don't get food right. So we got to get the food right, and we'll do that with them. So in our facility, that's your job. From a coaching standpoint, you need to be honest with the parents and tell them, say, look, you're expecting us to build a winning program. You're expecting your son or daughter to maybe have a chance to play at college. And especially with the younger kids, they all think they're going on to college. Like last night, we went and watched figure skating and gymnastics, and I was thinking, yes, my daughter's going to be a figure skater like these Olympic medalists, and his son's going to be a gymnast like the dude's doing the flips on the bars. And I'm like, oh my God, I've become that